Hello and welcome to Banking Frontiers Live. This is one of our most interesting conversations in the area of payment banks and what business opportunities we see in the payments banking space. Along with me, I have a very interesting personality today who is going to speak to us about how the payment banking sector is evolving. With me is Mr. Ashutosh Singh, who is the CEO of NSDL Payments Bank. Mr. Singh, welcome to Banking Frontiers Live.
Thank you, Mr. Nair, and I think pleasure is all mine to be a part of this interview series you're doing, and I'm sure we'll have a very interesting conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh. Redefining experience has been one of the most important aspects for any of the banks, and especially the payments bank, because you are totally dependent upon technology for redefining the customers. On one side is attracting the customer, on the other side is retaining and getting a better pockets share of these customers. So how are you using technology differently in both these aspects?
So first of all, our business strategy is only around B2B. We are not looking at doing anything in terms of setting up our own distribution outlets. So that is point number one. So when you know your strategy is only going to be B2B, you are obviously, so our business partners are our first set of customers. So what is it that I do to attract my business partners? So at the cost of being repetitive, what we are trying to do to attract our business partners is essentially focus on those areas of, having tech solutions, whether these are indigenously developed or some of it we are working with technology service providers. So have tech solutions that give a lot of confidence to the business partners in terms of the scalability aspect, in terms of the availability aspect. Second is have operational processes that the business partners again feel, it induces a sense of delight that this is going to help me as a business to onboard customers very easily and onboard my agents very easily. So we are doing all of those things. And also third is on the product side. So this is what we are doing to attract customers. Pricing, like I said, important, but overdone. So these are the areas that I am working on. And just to give you an example, so for prepaid, on the prepaid card solution, I would be the only bank, and maybe if not the only bank, then at least in an exclusive group of banks that launched a virtual card before we even began testing on a prepaid card, right? So we have modular solutions. Since we are such a late entrant, it's very important that you differentiate yourself from the entrenched players in terms of the solutions that you offer. So one is obviously we are trying to differentiate ourselves in terms of solutions. We're trying to differentiate ourselves in terms of go-to-market timelines. And I think against the entrenched players, like I said, the biggest advantage is when we get on a call, we have all the teams together. If you try to get on a call with an entrenched bank, it'll be very difficult for the business guys to get the IT guys, compliance guys, risk guys on one call. So go-to-market timelines are always a question mark when you're trying to deal with an entrenched player, and some of it is by design. So I think as an entrenched player, you have these elements, and some of these elements are built in by design. But however, if a business partner is looking for a quick go-to-market timeline, he knows where to come. And the fact that we are having this rhythm of, with our business partners, we get on calls once a week, once a fortnight, depending upon the stage and age of the partnership, where we review the progress. That also inspires a lot of confidence. It's only about getting the initial few wins. Once you've gotten the initial few wins, then the word spread. If you want a quick go-to-market timeline of 15 days, I have a product where I can take you live in 15 days. And if you want the whole stack, where it is a physical card, GPR card, then I may take 45 days. So I have a modular solution of 15 days, 30 days, 45 days. And so there is, the business partner feels very confident. These guys obviously know their stuff. They know what they are talking. And I think, like I said, the word spreads. And we've done similar things across all our product lines. So this is what we are doing to win customers, B2B customers. And in a very limited way, we are operating on operating on the direct to consumer side, which is through our flagship product called NSDL Jiffy. So there, obviously, some of the USPs that we've built on our mobile app. So to begin with, I think the fact that you can do your onboarding journey in a matter of 6 minutes flat is a it's a big plus. That is to begin with. And once you're on board, obviously there's anything and everything that you can do with a regular bank. You can pretty much do the same things even with us. Let's say today you want to do a payment of 5 lakhs to me, right? I don't know if many people know this or not, but it doesn't really matter what you put in the beneficiary account number. I'm sorry, it's getting a little technical. If it's getting a little too technical,
Perfectly,
just let me know.
perfectly all right. Perfectly
Okay.
all right.
So, as an example, if you want to add me as a beneficiary, you can basically just add any name. I could give you a name of Amazon India, and there's no validation that happens in terms of the name that you put in the beneficiary account details. So, we are doing our bit to control these frauds. We are trying to tighten the account opening journey just a bit. We are trying to build a whole lot of safeguards around transaction monitoring in terms of value and velocity. And this feature that I was telling you about, where I give you the option, the reality of the matter is beneficiary name never gets checked, right? So you could be putting XYZ company and the real account number could belong to me, and you could be transferring money. As a bank, I am giving you this option to validate the beneficiary by doing a penny drop. So by dropping 1 rupee in that account, it will throw back the name of the actual account holder. So this way, at least you can verify the beneficiary by just dropping that 1 rupee in the account. And that way, you are at least before you do any big transfer, you can check this. You can be sure about what you're doing, and that way you can save yourself from being defrauded. And there are not too many banks. In fact, I can't think of any bank that is offering this as a service today. So that's a very big differentiator.
So let me just try to look into the crystal ball and ask you, what is it that interesting product is going to come forward in next 2 months, 3 months from the payments bank business, respecting your secret sauce?
So I don't think in this age of technology there is any secret sauce. I mean, even if you come out with an innovative offering, there the market will quickly latch on. So that is one. But coming back to the question of how I see the future, I think the idea is just to try to identify some trends that you see in the future and build products around those, get off the blocks quickly, and plan for what you see as general trends. I'm sure most of the banks are working in the trenches in terms of coming up with relevant products by looking at the overall trends in the payment services space. So, before I zoom in on the trends, I'll just like to take a moment and reflect on the current strengths of our country today. So, when it comes to payment solutions, I think there is a strong and growing recognition worldwide that India is at least a few years ahead of most of the economies around the world, including the advanced economies of the West. This has been mainly achieved on the back of two population scale infrastructure or population scale innovations that have come about through Aadhaar and UPI between 2013 to 2018. Out of every two accounts that is getting opened in the world, two bank accounts, one of it was from India. So this was when Jan Dhan was obviously in full force. So every second account that was getting opened in the world in that 5-year period was an account coming from India, and that was clearly made possible because of government enabling enabling the whole population with an Aadhaar card. And then second, obviously on the payment side, you had UPI. So on the back of these two population scale infra, I think India is already a few years ahead of most of the economies around the world. So I think UPI obviously will continue to hold sway. We've already seen what the numbers have been in the first 15 days of October. So UPI has obviously bounced back and bounced back real strong. In the first 15 days of October itself, we have crossed 1 billion transactions, right? And we've also crossed out just about a toe touch to 2 trillion INR. So that's the kind of scale we are seeing in UPI. So UPI will continue to hold sway in the P2B space. Contactless again will gain a lot of traction. Because people, obviously, there will be germophobia mentality that is going to abound. And because of that, people wouldn't want to touch dirty currency, filthy keypads. So contactless as a trend, even for in-store interactions, is clearly that is going to come out very, very strongly as a trend. And so whether it is in-store scanning QR codes or using your contactless cards, and in the future through tokenized payments, You wouldn't even have to take out cards from your pocket. You once the card is tokenized on a mobile phone, you can just wave your mobile phone on the NFC enabled reader, and your transaction is done, right? So contactless again is a big trend. So I think MPOS, the whole mini POS solution, is going to be another big trend. I think that is going to actually take the payment acceptance infrastructure in the country from 50 lakh to maybe 3 crores in the next couple of years. Because clearly, and there is something that even needs to happen from the regulator side, where today you've done away with MDRs on certain amounts of transactions. Maybe you will need to think of something. How do you incentivize the whole payment acceptance infrastructure? The other big trend I see is offline, right? So I think clearly USSD has not worked. So while the number of UPI transactions have gone through the roof, we are hitting a number of 3 lakh crore, 4 lakh crore on a monthly basis. But the whole year on USSD, which is the offline mode, the number for the entire year was only 180 crores last year. So offline also with some regulatory intervention could become an important area. So yeah, I think these are some of the trends, and then obviously the very fancy ones like your fridge ordering the eggs for you, your
IoT.
printer, IoT, absolutely. So these are some of the trends that
Trends.
yeah, these are some of the trends that I really see scaling. While IoT obviously is a very fancy thing, people are even talking about experience-based purchases. You're watching Netflix. I like what you're wearing. I pause the screen, I click on the shirt, and I make the purchase.
Fantastic. So that was a very good, crystal ball gazing into what the future is going to be all about. So now, see, fintechs is one of the most important engagement which most of the financial institutions are looking at to catapult themselves to the future. What kind of fintechs have you seen do well or has worked for you? And what kind of engagements are you looking for with fintechs in the future? Which are those things that interest you?
So, Babu, on this, while obviously there is a traditional definition of fintech, which is anyone who has built his solution around technology and is in the space of financial services, that's a fintech. And most of the guys we are working with, whether it is on the financial inclusion side, or it is on the prepaid card, or it is on the payment solutions, whether it is PG or POS, these are fintechs in their own right, because most of the solutions they have also developed are built around technology and in the financial services space. But the new definition that is really catching on is fintech in the banking as a service space, neo banking space. So here also we are having our engagements with some of these new kids on the block, where we are trying to make a set of highly available, low latency APIs, a modular solution. So I'll have, let's say, a set of 30 APIs for account opening. I'll have a set of another 10 APIs for BBPS. And depending upon your own business interest, as my business partner, I can either offer you the whole stack of 200 APIs, where you can do account opening, where you can offer solutions on the payment side, you can do prepaid, you can do POS, PG, recharges, bill payments. Even on the capital market side, I can offer you solutions like that. So I can offer you the whole stack if you are interested in the whole stack, or simply you can pick and choose. So, I mean, if your strength lies on the payment side, then you can pick up my modular APIs on the payment side. If you want to service the rural India for, let's say, mobile recharges or bill payments, then you can pick up just those two modular solutions from me. So we are working with a couple of these neo banks. We are also working with some fintechs, and we are trying to internally also we are trying to actually make this API stack, which is going to be very very simple to understand, documented well, defined well, and like I said, if it is defined well, then obviously it is going to be highly scalable, highly available, with low latencies. So that's something that we are working on internally. We have also roped in services of experts in the API management space. So these are some of the things that we are doing with fintechs across the board.
How do you see this app evolving? Okay. Have you seen any interesting strategy in and around this app? So what kind of USPs can bring in some kind of competitive differentiation according to you. Any thoughts you want to share on this?
I think when it comes to banking, you're more or less operating in a very saturated market, right? So, when you are operating in a market as saturated as banking is in the country today, where, almost every household will have a bank account, uh, right? What do you do to really differentiate yourself from the other bank? What is it that you do in terms of nailing and cracking your business strategy? This then becomes imperative for new entrants like us to have complete clarity on. Where we differentiate ourselves is certain advantages that we draw from our group companies. Like I said, NSDL, it's a bellwether in the capital market space. So we have made a lot of solutions which are capital market oriented, because that's one area where I clearly stand out, right?
Yeah,
Other banks will not have the deep expertise. Other banks will not have the advantages of dipping into the resource pool, the knowledge pool of a parent like NSDL, and getting
absolutely.
a lot of inputs from there. So whether it is solutions on the capital market side for the retail consumers, we have made a whole lot of these solutions. And like I said, in the last 6 months, we've already signed up 40 plus mandates. So that's one area of big focus for us, because in a saturated market, it's very important that you know your true calling, you know your business model, and you know your product proposition. So towards that end, capital market is one area that we are heavily focused on, heavily invested in, and obviously that is beginning to bear fruit in terms of partnerships that we are striking today. 75% of your entire base is below the age of 30. So that clearly tells me a thing or two about how the young of India are lapping our product, because obviously they are liking the journey, they are liking the interface they are seeing with our mobile banking app, they are liking exploring various products on our mobile banking app. So we have made a very youthful experience on our mobile banking app, and clearly the numbers bear it out. We are trying to also make a lot of youth-centric products, where I want to introduce the youth of India to the concepts of savings, to the concepts of investing at an early age, to the concepts of having insurance plans, right? Insurance plans at an early age, to the whole concepts of better expense management. And this we are doing, around behavioral economics, and also trying to bring in elements of gamification. So these things help you, help the young, help the youthful population of the country to engage.
So, compared to your target of customers which you wanted to achieve till the end of this year when you launched, I'm sure you must have planned. Where have you reached, and what is the plan to be there, or where do you plan to be at the end of year when you end the 31st of March?
So without it getting into the specifics of the number, all I can say is we are in a good place. We had set out, a target in the month of February before lockdown had started, and we have already hit close to 75% of those numbers in H1 itself
Fantastic.
in terms of our client acquisition. Uh, and even in terms of other businesses, I think most of the business lines that we are operating in, we are pretty much on the ball, and I think we should have, by the time we close the year, we should have had a very, very satisfactory year across all business lines. And obviously, savings account through the digital channel being a complete standout, along with financial inclusion and prepaid cards. So these are the areas that we've done extremely well in. Payment gateway side, we are obviously try to put in the hard yards and get a bigger dent there. So that's one area where maybe there is some work still to be done. But businesses that have already started firing for us on all cylinders are financial inclusion products like DMT, micro ATM, prepaid card solutions, and the digital savings bank story.
Fantastic. So that is at least a interesting windfall that you have had, in spite of the entire economy having a downturn. At least banks like you are smiling the way into your banks. So
Correct.
fantastic. There have been a lot of talk about this umbrella payment organizations and new umbrellas and things that are coming up. Do you think it will be beneficial for payment banks and that business segment if there are more payment umbrella organizations which are set up rather than the existing NPCI which is there? Is it how is it going to change the equations for the payments business?
Sure. So I think as a consumer, because this umbrella entity is not going to be in competition with any bank, this umbrella entity is mostly going to be in competition with someone like an NPCI. So then, from that standpoint, I become a consumer, I become a customer, and the response of any customer is more the competition, the better it is.
Okay.
So that keeps everybody on their toes. That keeps everybody always trying to think of how to make the whole ecosystem better. Advantages: there are three guys coming together, and these three guys bring in a lot of experience, so they can bring in therefore a whole lot of innovation. And innovation, more competition is always good from the consumer standpoint. Uh, but how this space evolves, how they do this innovation, how they, really make products that are very different from what already exists in the market, is going to be the real differentiator. You don't want the guys to do more of the same thing, right? You clearly want these guys to come up and do more of different things. So, obviously, you're not prepared for this one, but one thing that immediately comes to mind is what these guys can do in the offline space, right? So, offline space, there is someone entrusted to do the job in the offline space, but offline payment space is clearly not taken off at all. Just a number I talked about in the USSD, that star 99 hash, you had only 180 crores in the entire year versus a 36 lakh crore extrapolated on UPI numbers for this year. So clearly, the offline space is not taking off. Government also seems to be concerned about it because in the remote areas where network is a challenge, maybe you need someone to come and think of solution in the offline space. So if these guys can come and identify the product market gaps in terms of expanding the user base. So I think there is still a lot of work that needs to be done there because it's still the same set of 12 crore, 15 crore customers who are using your UPI apps to move money around. So how do you take this number from 15 crore to 50 crore is going to be a challenge that this new umbrella entity should be focused on. And I think one of the strong enablers to get you there could be the offline payment space. Clearly, if that starts to work, then this clearly 15 crore people, the village folks right now who today Jan Dhan is enabled with a debit card, but all they do with a debit card is go to the APS machine and withdraw money, right? They're not doing anything else with the debit card. So if you really want to, go cashless, or really want to take the agenda of cashless forward with a gigantic step, you will need this umbrella entity to come and think of solutions where you bring people from the hinterland into the mainstream.
Fantastic. I have had a great conversation with you, Ashutosh.
Thank you so much, Babu. I think you have really enjoyed this conversation. And I look forward to interactions maybe next time in person.
Thank you for sharing all this valuable information.
Thank you so much, Babu. Really been a pleasure.
Thank you.